Vlog number 9 or 10. Today is Inauguration Day, January 20th. Except it's not. I actually missed the day. It's January 21st. Yesterday was pretty busy, and honestly, I just kind of forgot. I remembered sometime around like 2 a.m. that it was time to record and everything, but by then it was already January 21st, so I figured I was, half asleep at that point. Let me just sleep, and then in the morning, let me just, whip something together, and that would be all. But Inauguration Day was pretty nice for me, I guess. It was a little bit solemn in a way because I have a very really weird relationship with President Trump, now ex-President Trump. I understand that some of his policy and in general his way of expressing what he thinks on Twitter, let's say, or even in the public is bound to make a lot of people upset. However, from the get-go, he's kind of been somebody that I've kind of related to in a way. It's very strange. I'm going to try and articulate it into words, but basically, when I look at Trump, right, I don't want to make any comparisons to Obama because the two are very, very different, but I'm going to try and make a comparison to those people that voted for Obama. And listen, Barack Obama was the first black president, and while that doesn't really mean anything on the surface level in terms of policy or anything like that, nothing like that changes because he's in the office. It's still extremely important to the people that's important to, basically. I imagine that if you're a member of the African American community, regardless of whether or not you liked Obama's policy or hated his policy or didn't like the person, it would probably feel pretty good to have a man on the inside, so to speak. And while Trump is certainly not my man on the inside, there's a certain underdog value to him. The fact that pretty much every single day of his presidency and even before becoming a president, he was beloved by the public. People loved him for gave him free publicity. And then when he started running, they uncover all this stuff. All of a sudden, everyone that loved him is now his worst enemy. There's a certain underdog quality to the way that he had to deal with all that stuff day in, day out, and that never really stopped like any day during his presidency. He was always dealing with some kind of backlash. And as somebody who's also felt like kind of like the underdog, the one left behind, me versus the world, every victory that he had over those people that basically tried to get rid of him and ridicule him all the time, I related to that a lot in a way. And honestly, for reasons that I can never really explain, he kind of inspired me in a way. Because I imagine this guy pretty much has no emotions, like he's a robot with how much he is incapable of feeling and the stuff that he says, but the fact that he just keeps chugging along, even with all these, bogus stories, all this fake news, some of it real, but most of it fake news, people exaggerating, taking his words out of context. The fact that he keeps going after that, I find a lot of inspiration from. And now that he was gone, I did feel a little bit empty for a little bit. Because Trump, he was inaugurated on in January in 2017, which is when I was a sophomore. I was 2 weeks away from turning 16, and when he leaves, and when he left yesterday, it was January 20th, 2021, and now I'm 2 weeks away from being 20 years old. So Trump was president right when, right during my most formative years. So whenever I look back on this period, he's going to be a part of that, and I think I'm going to have some sort of nostalgia for it, whether I like it or not. I like a good amount of his policy. Some policy I think is not a good idea, like the Muslim ban, and the fact that he's very rigid towards immigrants. The fact that he's building a wall, even though most people that are here legally overstay their visas, so it's kind of like an empty gesture, I guess. But I don't really want to get into politics. I never really wanted to talk politics on these video logs. But honestly, I can say sincerely, I am going to miss President Trump. And, this morning started with me waking up around 3, and around 6 a.m. when the sun came up, 6 or 7 a.m., it came up a little bit later. Made myself a cup of tea, and it was snowing for a little bit. Snowing actually really hard for a little bit, so I was just, staring out the window, taking in the view while, sipping on some tea. I felt pretty zen. After that, I went for my walk, and on my way back from my walk, when I drove to my dad's house to take care of a little kitten. The inauguration was already starting. They swore in Kamala Harris. They swore in Joe Biden. And apparently, people were talking about his speech like it was really good. Again, maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough, and maybe it's because his delivery is not very like oomph in a way, because obviously he's an older guy, but I didn't really connect with it um in the way I guess I was supposed to. But listen, there's a new administration, and for the most part, like what they do is not going to affect me on a very. It's going to affect me on a very granular level, unless I become like a millionaire or I'm a businessman trying to get by. Then I probably have something to worry about. But right now, it's 20-year-old Gabe who's just working a 9 to 5 or 12 to 9. It could go either way. I don't really care who's president. I'm lying, actually. I do care a lot, but obviously, when the person you don't want or want is in office, regardless, you just have to, carry on. Because obviously, if you carry that negativity all the time, then it's gonna show basically. So he's here for 4 years. He has a pretty sure Democratic Senate. He has the House majority. Only thing he doesn't have is the Supreme Court. But I mean, you really need that to pass legislation. I'm hoping he does a couple things like legalize weed, which would be good for one of my stocks. But as far as Democrats are concerned, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do, basically, in these 4 years, besides just undo everything Trump did. Because in the past 24 hours, Biden is stopping wall construction. He is rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement. He's doing all these things that are basically just we're going back before Trump, if that makes sense. And I guess that's fair because most of what Trump did was basically undo what Obama did, and regulations wise and stuff like that. So, I'm honestly cautiously optimistic, which is strange because I came into this thinking that Democrats would be the worst thing in the world for being president right now since they have control of everything. But we'll see what happens. I'm honestly open to see what happens because universal health care, uh, what's the word? Universal basic income and legalized marijuana are actually all things that I'm really open to that I know conservatives are never going to budge on. I'm a libertarian about those things and most other policies, but I know that we're probably going to have a two-party system for a long time. So I am excited to basically have the other side come in, do the social liberal things, and then have another one come in hopefully later on and do some economically liberal things. I'm sorry. Excuse me. So that was the inauguration. I'm going back to work today. Or did anything happen really yesterday? Nothing really. On Plutonium, this Black Ops 2 server browser, I was able to find a way to basically make my own camos, and the highlight of that night was basically me making the 90s cup, like the white with like the blue and purple streaks. I managed to make that into a camo, and it actually looks really good on all my guns, so that was the highlight of my night. Although, I actually got a little bit upset because I wasn't really finding anybody that, give me any props or anything. Like, I sent it into the Discord with Snacks, Rubio, and all of them, and Snacks deleted the photo, and Rubio was like Black Ops 2 in 2021, which was implying that like I can't believe that you're playing this game right now. And I gave like a self assured reply back, but um it still was kind of like a kick in the teeth for me because I was looking for anybody to be like, hey man, this is pretty dope, because obviously you kind of want some kind of acceptance when you find something and you think is nice. You kind of want confirmation from those around you. Um, Up until that point, I was showing everything to Trevor, and obviously, if Trevor, he's gonna be courteous. He's gonna be like, okay, this looks nice. And I think he was genuine about it when he was like, oh, I fuck with it and this like this and that. But I kind of wanted to show it to somebody that you know would be like, whoa, this is crazy. And I sent it to Artie. I sent it to Brady. Like I sent it to a lot of people. I even sent it in the Plutonium like support text chat, hoping that somebody would react to it, but nobody reacted to it. And I got a snarky reply in the boys Discord, Rubio and Owen and all them, and Artie and Brady just basically wrote like, oh, that's cool, I guess, nothing crazy. Like, how did you even do that? Like, not they aren't really interested on that level. So I guess I'm a little bit disappointed about that. But talking about it right now, I do need to realize that, I need to be dependent on my own happiness, like regardless of what people think or even like if they care about what I do. It's ultimately going to come down to basically me having fun with it and having that be that. Like if I had zero friends and zero people to share the cup with, I'd probably still think it was really cool just on its own merits, and that it is cool. So it is what it is. So that was yesterday. I'm going back to work today. Honestly, I'm a little bit not looking forward to come back to work because on one hand, this is, I've had 2 weeks off. I've been getting a tiny bit bored, but honestly, 2 weeks off with paid time doesn't get a lot better than that. Um, no, but I haven't looking forward to get back. But then on the other hand, I'm still in South Ozone Park. I still have really shit turf, and I'm pretty sure I have to get to a certain amount of PSUs before the month ends, or else I'm gonna get a strike too. And oddly enough, while that would upset me in like other months, I've realized that jobs like this, I don't care. Sorry for the voice cracks. It's happened like 2 times already. Whatever happens, happens. There's always going to be another job for me to take, and now that I've had this job, I'm overqualified for other ones like it. Um, yeah, because I mean, unless I'm moving up, even if I move up or sideways, even if I side grade, for the most part, like that job, the next job I have is going to have better hours, and maybe like a little bit lower, pay wise, but I can still tolerate it because I'm not, paying any essential bills or anything like that. So I can still afford to, get fired or whatever, or leave this job sometime soon. I don't want to, but if push comes to shove, I've learned that I probably shouldn't get like really upset about it or fed up about it. Because listen, back in the day, humans would get anxiety for like I can't fucking find any food to eat and now I'm gonna starve or something like that. Or oh, I think this guy's gonna kill me. This lion is gonna kill me. It's do or die right now. And us, meanwhile, we get the same level of anxiety and fear from, oh God, I'm not gonna hit my quota this month. Oh God, Andre's gonna call me because I didn't make a sale, or something like that. And at the end of the day, life goes on. I'm still 19, about to be 20. I'm still very young. I have a lot of time to go. I have a lot of money built up, a little bit of a nest egg. I think we'll be okay. So that's kind of like my attitude going back into it. If I get that strike too, who cares? I think fiscal February is going to be a very good month, but obviously if my back against the wall, it's going to be a tiny bit stressful regardless of the circumstances of whether or not I care. There's still going to be like that little sense of like, you know, who wants to get fired from their job? But that's about it. I'm gonna try and it's 9:52 a.m. So I'm gonna try and squeeze in a little bit of a walk at Forest Park before I go to work. Hopefully burn some extra calories off. Get like a little sub on my way there, or a little like hero sandwich on my way to work, and then we'll see what happens from there. Um, but yeah, Gabe, I appreciate you listening. We're back to the longer videos, and I know the last one was like maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes, but I have a lot more talking points for you now because obviously you take a little bit of a two day gap, you have a lot more to talk about, and obviously something as important as the inauguration of a new president, it doesn't happen every day, so obviously I have more to talk about. But we'll see what happens. So Gabe, wherever you are in the future, Gabe from the future, I hope you're doing well. You have yourself a good one, man. I'll catch you next time. Peace.